Thanks, Melanie. I really, Melanie, you'll find Melanie is part of my crazy journey, but I am so excited to speak to you all today. And I know that in the header, my topic line was, how did I find my niche? And the honest truth is, I'm not there yet. And so while I would love to tell you my step-by-step 1, 2, 3 program of how you're going to find your niche, I figure it's going to probably be more beneficial if I'm real with you. And I'm going to pull my husband over here just really quick. I'm not good at these things. I'm just like, he's my whoopee. He might just have to hang out here for a minute so that I can hit the screen. We had some problems.
I get a special shout out in this presentation, so I'm deserving of being here.
Anyways, so I just want to share with you how, frankly, both of us, because he's had to come along for the ride, how saying yes led to, frankly, the mess that we're in today. So before I begin, as Melanie said, I'm Cynthia Stringham, and my whole life I have absolutely loved plants, even since I was a little girl. I found out that I'm also really good at growing them, along with growing my 4 boys. And I am also somebody who's not afraid to try something new. And what my therapist has told me is this is FOMO, and it tends to lead me to say yes to too many things in the fear that I'm going to miss out on a new opportunity. So in 2019, I left my corporate job as a marketer and to spend more time with my young growing family. But I learned quickly that although I enjoy my kids, I find that I needed something to keep me on my toes. So what do you do as a young mother in the 2020s? You start an Instagram account that was featuring my garden, frankly, my overstimulated garden with lots of color and vegetables and everything planted in between, right, Tom?
Definitely overstimulated. Way too much.
Way too much. And sharing content and how I grew plants. And if you don't know me, as you will see, I take it very, very seriously. And here are a few shots of me and my Instagram account and my garden and me getting stung by a bee on my face. So with that, I found that I was creating this incredible community in gardening. And I found new friends. This is my best friend who was an Instagram friend who I actually talk to in real life every day. I only know her, well, her name's Jenny, but I call her Herbs by her handle, The Happy Urban. So that's Herbs. And then on top of that, I met Melanie, who, I'm not going to lie, scared me because she's an actual soil scientist. And I love plants, but when Melanie came to my house, I was like starstruck. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're a real soil scientist? Let's talk soil. Anyways, I found putting myself out there led to new friends, making a new community and new connections to grow. And again, I said yes to a lot of invitations. I said yes to becoming a gardening consultant and helping people to create what I have created in my own garden. I also became more involved in different elements of the community online. I dabbled in flower farming for a bit. But what I really kind of found that I loved was teaching and sharing my enthusiasm for gardening. And I actually wrote down, you remember this time, I wrote down these goals and like 20 and end of 2019, and we just barely found this notebook.
It was a little eerie when she found the notebook.
It was
and we read through it.
So eerie. So these were the 3 goals that I had written down. One was that I wanted to teach gardening on a larger scale in the community. Now this is hard because I don't have a horticultural background or anything, but I wanted to teach it on a larger scale in a fun, personable way. The other was I wanted to own a greenhouse. Now, not what I have now. I just wanted a personal, private greenhouse next to our house. And the other was, weird enough, that I wanted to sell rooted cuttings of tropical plants. So we'll get into that later, but I had those goals written down. And then we lost the notebook until we randomly found it one day. In 2019, I felt like I had this trajectory, but then 2020 hit, and as we know, things got weird. And just a heads up, we had a little bit of a problem with my what's this called?
Video.
My videos today. So I had all these cool videos on my slide presentation that were working, and then we test it with Zoom and they're not working. So I think that's why Tom's here, because I'm like, something else goes wrong.
This is our plan B.
Plan B. We're already on plan B.
Ready.
Anyway, so 2020 got weird. There was a lot of movement on social media to go into video formatting, reels, which I was already doing. But as we know, things became negative, things became super controversial, and this fun environment that once was Instagram shifted, and it became very competitive and negative. And that is the one time I said no. I said, you know what, I'm stepping back from this. I don't want to do this anymore. And I mean, I honestly don't care, but it was interesting because of that step back. A few things happened. One, all my friends who had these gardening accounts, as we know, 2020 became the year of gardening, and all their accounts started to blow up, which was awesome for them. But two, I felt like stepping back helped me realign what my goals were. I diverted because of what you would see on Instagram. I kind of got caught up in the moment. And I took a step back and remembered, what do I really want to do with this? What is this all for? Is it just to keep me busy? And what I realized, excuse me, goodness, what I realized is that I didn't have a project. I was just diddling, dabbling. And so what I really needed was a project. And that's where my first big yes came, which was with PBS Utah. Now, I had done a few interviews with PBS Utah's group called Modern Gardener, that they have this program called Modern Gardener, and essentially it's part of their digital studio, but also on YouTube, and it's videos all about how to garden in Utah. Anyways, I've done some interviews with them, and they reached out to me in 2022 and said, hey, we have this host position that's going to be opening up. It's pretty competitive, but we really would like for you to put your hat in the ring. And if you're going to learn something from me, I'm always sucker for trying something once. So I threw my hat in the ring, and I was shocked that they chose me. There were so many incredible applicants, a lot of people that I knew that were also applying. Anyways, they chose me. I did not have any TV experience. I'm not an expert in growing. I mean, I grow well, but I don't have a hort degree, right? And it was really scary. And on top of that, like when you think of PBS, do you think of some crazy person that's holding melons and showing how big her melons are? No, okay, that is not the personality of PBS. And so I'm like, okay, am I going to be okay matching what level of professionalism that PBS is versus my chaos that's on Instagram? Anyways, it was awesome. The crew was fantastic, and we worked really well together. Modern Gardener started to grow, and with that, they're like, hey, I think we need to feature this on the fund drive. And who knew that opportunities like that are like plants or children or tribbles? They multiply. And because of the fund drive, it led to my second yes. So who knew that from the fund drive, not only would I get one greenhouse, which was my goal, but 6 greenhouses. And the story goes, the previous owner of 42nd Street Greenhouse had ran the greenhouse on her property, it's right on 7th East, for 39 years. And she had grown beautiful plants seasonally. Well, one night she decided that she really wanted to watch the Antique Roadshow on PBS. And instead of Antique Roadshow, it was me and my dirty fingernails promoting Modern Gardener on a fund drive. So she saw it and she said, maybe this is the person that I want to have take over my legacy and take over this property, because she had a lot of investors and some developers that were very interested in it. We had to move quickly. She contacted me actually through social media, and Tom was so good. It was my 40th birthday that week. We were leaving on a flight. Tom hadn't even seen the property. I had seen it before. But we were in San Diego sitting on that little cafe table outside. We had the contract in hand, and I turned to him. I said, well, should we have a midlife crisis?
I said, screw it. Let's do it.
To the wind. Throw it all out the window, right? So that is how we ended up signing our life away to an incredible, scary, awesome, terrifying business. And I've always grown tons of plants in my basement. I grew all my own plants from seed, but never in my life have I worked in a greenhouse, nor had I worked on the scale of growing 400,000 plants, all these different varieties, and knowing I hadn't even operated. I mean, I was a waitress, but I never even actually operated a register before in my life. So the first year was intense. In some ways good, some ways not. I lost 20 pounds. I mean, that could be good or bad. Obviously, all stress related, so not good. And a lot of the times I kept turning to Tom saying, did we just make the worst decision of our life? Or is this going to be the best decision? So thanks to so many people, we managed to grow all the plants, to sell our plants successfully, and actually be more or less sold out by the end of May, beginning of June. And it was because of my social media connections that I found growers that were willing to help and support me. I found people, just our community that we developed, that were willing to come in and support the business, volunteers. It was amazing. But the biggest thing I came out of that year was I learned that planning and support are key. And I struggle sometimes to get the support. I hate asking for help. So we're off of our first year at the greenhouse, and we are just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we did that. Okay, this is in June. This is end of June. And I'm a mom with 4 boys, a wife, trying to get our life back together. I'm host of Modern Gardener. Now I own a greenhouse. And I have a social media account. So what am I going to do with the few spare minutes that I have? I'm going to say yes to yet another opportunity. And here I am, now the owner of 115 heirloom chrysanthemums from Faribault, Minnesota. So what happened was, in July, another connection from Instagram reached out. And after we closed the seasonal greenhouse, I think I must have been high on adrenaline. Like I told you, probably like a day before this.
High on something. I don't know what.
Who knows what I was high on. Don't get on whatever I was on is what I'm going to tell you. Anyways, a person reached out on Instagram, a friend, a colleague that I've met through this community. And they had purchased this heirloom chrysanthemum business that existed in 1932. It started in 1932. It's the Lehman family out in Minnesota, and they were the 3rd owners of this collection. And they had owned it for 2 years, brought all the chrysanthemums here to Utah, but they realized that selling plants was just not in the cards for them. However, they had to also move this product and move it out quickly. So the catch for us to acquire this business was that we also had to move it out in 3 days' time. And I really wish I had the video, but we don't have the video to see, of 600 totes of mother stock, massive storage racks, lights, those giant water containers. We had so much to move out in 3 days. And Tom's like, what are we doing? I mean,
it was awful, awful.
I don't know why he's still with me. Anyways, so we got our crew together. We got the family together. We got all the neighbors together yet again to haul all this equipment over to the greenhouse. And in all honesty, what I was most interested in was the equipment. I did not care about the mums at the time. I thought of the mums as being kind of the Syngenta quality, which are great. They're cute mums, but the potted mums that you see at the big box stores. And I'm like, I don't really know if I want to get into that business. But because of who I am, I always take things that are living and try to keep them alive. And I did with the chrysanthemums as I was figuring out my 2nd year at the greenhouse. And lo and behold, those suckers bloomed and sucked me into yet another opportunity. These mums were not what I saw at the big box stores. They were big, they were beautiful, they were dahlias. And then on top of that, their vase life was incredible. And I started noticing the community online. There was this peak of interest in heirloom chrysanthemums. So I thought to myself, with a quick pivot, how hard can it be to start an e-commerce business? Plus, I mean, I just drew a bunch of annuals, so I'm going to be an expert at cutting and rooting mum plugs. Why not? This these businesses totally are in line with each other. They're totally parallel. I was delusional, okay? Totally delusional. So, sorry. Anyways, what I realized quickly, if you don't know this already, e-commerce is a totally different animal. Shipping plants and living things is hard. And I entered 2024, now running a second year seasonal greenhouse business and a first year rooted plant e-commerce business. And what did I learn? Oh, so like I said at the beginning of my talk, how did I find my niche? I don't know if I did, but I definitely got a lot of different things going, and I'm trying to balance and figure it out. So if you've ever gone to a business conference, I am going to reiterate the same things because I've now lived through it, and what they say is correct. Start small and focus. Start small and focus. My problem is that if I'm going to do it, I'm going to overdo it. But truly, it was a gift to myself last year where I had, for the chrysanthemum business, I thought, okay, I have this greenhouse business. I need to make sure this stays successful. And I have this secondary business. I'm going to keep it small. And I did. I kind of told everybody, this is my beta test year to see how the mums go. I'm using this second year of the mums also as kind of a beta test year and really structuring, how do I want to do this? Do I want to go wholesale? Do I want to go retail? So still figuring it out. Excuse me. But it's hard because chrysanthemums are coming back in vogue, and I want to make sure that we don't miss an opportunity. The next thing I'm going to tell you, either be the nerd or be married to a nerd, okay? I am not a patient person, and I struggle so much with, this is why I can't be a soil scientist with Melanie. I love all the data she brings. I love data. I hate collecting data. But thankfully I had Tom by my side, and he made sure that every plant had a SKU, every item, every variety had a SKU, and that we could track the information. And after 2 years, we learned a ton. We learned which plants are profitable, which plants we need to grow more of. And then I also learned, how sad is this, that one of my biggest greenhouses, all the crops we grew in there are a profit loss for us. We don't make the income. I'm still going to grow some, but now I'm not going to grow so much portulaca this year because it's a pain and it doesn't make a profit. So the numbers are important. You need to know your cost per square foot. And it took us time and data to get there. Next, hire help. Now, the first year, 42nd Street Greenhouse, we roped all of our friends, our families, people from Instagram, our neighbors, our enemies into helping us make it happen. And the second year, I had this fabulous woman that came out of my first year who became my right hand. And we thought, oh, we got this, high-fived each other. We can run the mums, we can run the 42nd Street Greenhouse. And we hired a bunch of new people. And it was a struggle. It was hard. It was hard to train them. It was hard to stay focused on what we needed to do. It about broke me. So what I can tell you my third year is I am paying for the help that can get me forward. I now have one person that is completely over 42nd Street Greenhouse every day-to-day operations, and I have another person that over the day-to-day operations of the mums, so that I can pull myself out. And even though I'm still in there seeding along with everybody, I can pull myself out of the day-to-day operations and get to what is important, which for me is investing in my community and finding those amazing people that are going to help build my sector of the world up, right? And what I have learned is that we're all doing the same thing, but what we need to do is to work with each other to actually make a profit. And sometimes it can be really scary to reach out to those connections. Quick story, I know I'm running out of time. Am I 20 minutes or 25, Melanie?
You have plenty of time, so you have until 10:30, and we usually leave a few minutes for questions. So far, there's not any.
Okay.
So folks, add those in if you've got some for Cynthia. So yeah, go for it.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so one thing that was really scary to me is when we launched to get the newsletter for the chrysanthemums, I noticed people coming in, and one name terrified me. His name is Al Chrismer. I call him the mumsar. I mean, this man knows everything and anything about garden chrysanthemums. He's from Ohio. He's a retired greenhouse grower. And I legit had a panic attack and wanted to hide under my bed for it was about 3 days when I was like, okay,
This is true.
I'm gonna put on my
She was freaking out.
Put on my big girl pants, and I'm gonna contact Al, because it's better just to face my fear head on than just know that he's like lurching in my inbox and my newsletters. And what came out of this is an incredible relationship. Al and we talk almost weekly. We try for a weekly phone call. And Tom he laughs because he's like, are you having like your book club today? Because Al and I will read different books and then we'll compare notes of what we pulled out of books about chrysanthemums. But he has become such an amazing mentor to me. So moving forward, what are my big plans for this year 3 and year 5? Well, I'm still in the thick of it. I'm still filming for PBS. I'm filming tomorrow. I'm balancing 2 businesses, one broad, one narrow, trying to raise some kids. Trying. And that said, I thankfully after last year have more direction because of the data that was collected. I've learned that mums are extremely profitable as far as cost per square foot. Now, the struggle is 42nd Street Greenhouse is still our bread and butter as we are building up the chrysanthemum business. But now that I have help of one person seeing the day-to-day operations of 42nd Street Greenhouse and one person seeing the day-to-day operations of Heritage Moms, I'm able to use my talent and my skill to step back and move the puzzle pieces that need moving to ensure that we have a future in 3 years, and then hopefully an extremely valuable future in 5 years, or we're out of it. I don't know. We'll find out. But it's me taking a step back and having someone manage all those operations so that I can comb through the data that we can move into the next direction. So what are we going to learn from this? Do as I say and not as I did. Now, it might work out either way. I mean, we're still standing to some degree.
Barely.
We lean on each other. But saying yes is a weird thing in that it continues to give you opportunities. At some point, though, you do need to scale back your yeses and make sure that they are in aligned. This is what I'm doing right now, so I'm just telling you what I'm trying. Make sure that my yeses are now in line to my next goal, okay? Because I'm going to share some pretty private information with you right now. This was my actual 2024 business plan. If you can just realize this is a very personal and private matter that I'm going to share with you. I got a knock on the door. I think those are my beneficial insects coming for the greenhouse. So just be prepared. If you need a screenshot, that's totally fine. But here was my 2024 business plan. Yes, it was a game of chutes and ladders. And if there's anything I can tell you, do not step on box 87. That slide hurts and it sucks. Okay, so there you go. What I am learning is that this industry is hard. Agriculture is hard, and you don't need to do it all yourself. You need to find the right people, and inevitably it will help. But hiring those right people, you're going to make an income. Remember, your time is valuable, and you need to focus on those 3 things that you are really good at and that nobody else can do, and then hand off the rest. Oh, going too fast. Where are we? Okay, thank you. All right, so quickly going through topics that you probably have already heard and know, but start small. Know your numbers. That is like been the biggest thing. I mean, mind-blowing to me to have our numbers. The other is leverage that technology. Again, my time I'm learning is more valuable than spending, a chunk of change. Obviously, you have to be smart about how you spend your money. But just for example, for the mum house, this year we upgraded so that we now have automated sides with the temperature. It was like the most rewarding thing because the ventilation that we have in these old houses, I mean, they're 42 years old, and they didn't receive the upgrades that they needed. These are saving me time and money. The next is diversify wisely. Now, I admit that e-commerce and brick and mortar are not the same thing, but it has taught me a lot. And the nice thing is with the chrysanthemums, if I had overruns, I could easily sell them at the greenhouse at the same time. So even though they're different, they did seem to run parallel to each other. Next, invest in those relationships, invest in your community, invest in your customers, and invest in those that are in the industry with you. What I love about the grow community is I feel like they're so strong. I have such great connections with my friends from Lambert's, from Progressive Plants, from Perennial Favorites, from just up the street from me, Mill Creek Gardens. They have been all so fantastic in reaching out and helping. Next, find yourself mentors, find yourself experts, ask the questions. USU has so many resources and they're so willing to help. Again, I was terrified of Melanie, but now, you know, we go to lunch and we see each other and we're always so excited. Then prioritize your quality over quantity. That's what we're doing with the chrysanthemums, and it has paid off in a big way. We only had one wholesale account last year, and they were concerned because they hadn't seen us before and they had some poor quality in the past of chrysanthemums. But when they got our plugs, they said these were the best plugs that we've ever received. We're going to double our order. And because of that, we've gone from one wholesale account to now 12 wholesale accounts. Adapt to trends. When I saw the chrysanthemums blooming, I knew it was special to me, but I did do my market research and I could see that there's a trajectory going up for chrysanthemums, and especially with the flower farmers, because most of the chrysanthemums, first, they're late season, they have an amazing base lifetime, but they're being shipped from Colombia and people are trying to bring them back here. So I knew there was a market for it. Next, plan for the unexpected, i.e. take a picture of your videos that you're going to put on your PowerPoint slide and have a plan B. Or if your furnace goes out at 1:30 in the morning, have a plan B. That happened to me last week and I almost lost all the mums. Thankfully, we had a plan B. Okay, I'm running out of time. So if you have any questions, I will take only serious questions at this point.
She's anything but serious.
And if not, this was awesome. Thanks for letting me experiment and have yet another new experience in my life.
Oh, Cynthia, that was fantastic. I have about 1 million questions for you, but Maggie is going to read some here that folks have added to the Q&A. So if anyone else has questions, make sure to add them now.
Yeah, so here's the first question. Also have a dream to own a greenhouse business one day. Any recommendations on how to get started if you don't already have land?
Oh man. And this is going to sound a little harsh, but honestly, go volunteer or go see about working with a local greenhouse. I really enjoy the greenhouse. I really, really do. I don't want to sound so negative, but it is kind of a something wicked this way comes style book where it's like, you got to make sure that you know what you're in for. It is right now we're leading into, 14 to 17-hour days just in the houses, and it is intense. So I would say before you even look for the land or before you start investing, go work in a greenhouse, figure out what you want to do, see how they do it well so that you have that knowledge and you're not just drinking from the fire hose trying to figure it out like I was. And then on top of that, if you're going to start into it, there are a lot of co-ops that I think are very interesting. There's a lot of grants that are available for building greenhouses. And I know a lot of farmers that do lease space. So it's finding that valuable space or people that you will meet through those communities that you build if you start kind of dabbling in the industry and getting to know people. Hopefully that was helpful.
Oh, that was wonderful advice. And just thank you so much for sharing your story this far. And yeah, I can't thank you enough. It was fascinating to learn just about this whole trek.